All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about factories. But, forget the old, noisy, rigid production lines you might have in your head. We are diving deep into a new kind of factory, one that can basically think for itself, adapt, and change on a dime.
So just imagine this for a second. What if a factory could totally reconfigure its entire layout, its whole workflow, almost instantly? A huge new order comes in, customer tastes suddenly zig instead of zag, and the factory just adapts. That's the real challenge facing manufacturing today, and the solution is pretty incredible.
And that solution has a name. It's called a Flexible Manufacturing System, or FMS. Now, this isn't just about getting faster machines or a few new robots. Nope, it's a completely different philosophy. It's about designing a production environment that is literally built for change from its very foundation.
So how in the world do you build something so complex and adaptable? Well, you don't start by building the whole city at once. You start small. You start with the most basic building block of the whole system, the manufacturing cell.
The secret sauce really starts right here with the manufacturing cell. So instead of one long, rigid assembly line, you cluster a few machines together into a little self-contained unit. Think of it like a microfactory or a self-sufficient neighborhood. This gives you incredibly tight control and makes scheduling way simpler. Okay, now look at this number, 61.61%. Just let that sink in. What do you think that represents inside a factory? Because let me tell you, that is not a minor tweak. That's the kind of massive efficiency gain that can completely transform a business.
And here's exactly where that number comes from. One study found that by simply grouping machines into these smart cells, the total distance that parts had to travel around the factory was slashed by over 61%. That means less time, less wasted energy, and way less complexity, all from just a smarter layout.
So the big takeaway is that this cellular design has this huge domino effect. Your material flow is cleaner, scheduling gets way faster, internal transport is almost eliminated in some cases, and your machines are actually being used more efficiently. This simpler setup even makes it easier for fancy optimization algorithms to come in and find the best path forward, fast.
All right, so we've built our self-sufficient little neighborhoods. What's the next logical step? Well, you've got to build the roads to connect them, to turn all those little neighborhoods into one big thriving city.
And this is where the scale really gets exciting. Those cells we talked about, they become the districts of our factory city, and they're all linked together by a transit system of what are called automated guided vehicles, or AGVs. These are basically an army of smart, robotic carts that shuttle materials exactly where they need to go right when they're needed, creating this one big, connected, intelligent system.
But here's what's really fascinating. Just like real city planning, how you design that transit system, that road network, matters a lot. A simple loop layout is super predictable, but it's not flexible. A ladder layout gives you more routing options, but it's a lot harder to manage. And an open field layout, that's maximum freedom, but you are running the huge risk of total gridlock. It's this classic trade-off between simplicity and flexibility. And the impact of making the right choice here? It's just staggering. I mean, look at this chart. Research shows that by combining a smart layout with optimized scheduling, you can slash the time it takes to actually make something, the cycle time, by over 90%. That's not just an improvement, that is a complete game changer.
So we've gone from these little neighborhoods to sprawling cities. But what comes next? Well, this is where we really step onto the cutting edge, where the factory itself almost becomes alive.
The future, it turns out, is a lineless factory. Forget fixed conveyor belts and predictable paths. We're talking about a world where mobile robots move freely, all coordinated by a central AI. The entire factory floor becomes this fluid, dynamic space that literally reorganizes itself based on what needs to be done right now. It is less like a machine and way more like a living, breathing organism.
So here's another number for you, 78%. If the factory is a living organism, what do you think this represents? Well, it's all about the brain.
This is the brain behind the whole operation. It's a multi-agent reinforcement learning system, MARL for short. And what that means is you basically have a team of AIs that are learning on their own how to coordinate with each other. And the data shows this AI brain works. It outperforms just letting robots move randomly in 78% of test cases. It's the intelligence that turns potential chaos into a kind of beautiful, hyper-efficient, synchronized ballet.
Okay, So this all sounds absolutely incredible, but it raises a huge question. With all these moving parts and infinite possibilities, how do you even begin to design the best possible system? And this question leads to a fundamental conflict in engineering.
This brings us to what's known as the optimizer's dilemma, and you can really think of it as a battle between two different mindsets. On one side, you have the perfectionist, who is searching for that one single mathematically perfect answer. And on the other side, you have the pragmatist, who's looking for a great answer that actually works in the real world and works fast. So the perfectionist uses what are called exact methods. They are guaranteed to find the absolute #1 best solution. But here's the catch. For a problem as complex as a factory, it could literally take centuries of computer time. The pragmatist, on the other hand, uses heuristics. You can think of them as clever shortcuts or educated guesses. They'll find you a near-perfect solution, maybe 99% as good, but they'll find it in minutes or hours. That's the one you can actually use.
So what do the smartest designers do? They don't pick a side. They create a smart, hybrid approach that gives them the best of both worlds. First, they use those slow, perfectionist methods on tiny, simple problems to create a gold standard. Then, they build the fast, pragmatist tools and tune them until they can get close to that gold standard. And finally, and this is the crucial part, before they build a single thing, they test the entire system in a digital twin, a perfect computer simulation of the factory, to make sure it all works.
And really, that's the big takeaway from all of this. The idea of building one single perfect factory is a myth. It doesn't exist. The reality, the future, is a smart, hybrid system that blends precision with speed. It's a factory that is constantly being tested, broken, and improved in the digital world before anyone ever tightens a bolt in the real one. All of this, the intelligent machines, the self-organizing systems, the digital brains, it all leads us to one final, very important question. As these factories become more and more intelligent, more adaptable, and more autonomous, what does that mean for the human beings who work alongside them? What's our role in the factory of the future? That's definitely something to think about.